for me. There's a lot of idealism spread around, and there's very few people who have come into the permaculture space from a professional production background. And there's so much to learn from that world, so much experience to draw from. And yeah, I think it's, you know, if you put aside idealism to get pragmatic about the scale of your operation, the context, and putting the plans into context of the land base you have. I mean, all the enterprises we run here, for example, any one of them could be scaled up to meet a family's annual income needs in 6 months of production. But you need that planning in place to be able to scale up your plans and see what you need to do to be able to produce that income. And it ties back to the context in that you can't possibly plan and make decisions if you haven't clarified what it is you're looking to achieve, with values that drive you underneath all that. And there's been a big lack of sharing of critical economics and working business models. There's just a lack of working permaculture farms in my mind, so it's hard for people to get experience in that. What I would say is something that is invaluable is spending a few seasons working at places that are really rocking it. You know, if there's somewhere you've heard about that's demonstrating viable livelihoods, working in a production model that you're interested in, go and spend a season working.
Okay, he's right. He's right. That's why you should go and spend a season working at Ben Falks' place and not at my place. I'm serious. I mean, Ben Falks got it going on. I mean, but you know, Ben Falks, like what, in year 15 or something like that, or maybe year 20. He's so you can go there and you can really see, and I think that that's really inspiring too, when you're in the middle of like, wow, it's here it is, really, you know, doing it. Here's what the reward is if you stick it out for 20 years. Whereas, you know, we're at year 3. And we're still in that. I like how Jeff Lawton puts it. I was doing a podcast with Jeff Lawton, and he said we need spiky weeds, and he's referring to people. Mm-hmm. You need some spiky weeds to kind of get things, and so we're still in that little bit of that. I mean, I think we're just starting to come out of the spiky weed phase, but the stuff that's here is going to be a little bit more rough and tumble. And we don't have epic food systems yet, like Ben Falk.
You guys have the true grit.
We're still in a little bit of grit phase. I mean, you haven't been out here yet.
I know.
And so got a lot to show you. We do have food systems, but you know, not nearly as significant as what Ben Falk has. And so.
Well, yeah, but he's 15 years in, and you're like 2 years into this property, right?
So we're still just getting started here, and permaculture is all about giving a gift to your future self. Now we have done a fair amount of earthworks, and we got a lot more earthworks to go, and but we have, for some of it, we've got like quite a lot of hugelkultur and a lot of berms built, but the soil is very poor, so we're still building soil.
Yeah.
For those systems, and building. We need to. I made an executive decision. Whereas on Mount Spokane, I went right out and I bought a fuck ton of electric fence, and I did all kinds of portable electric fence stuff. And then I had lots of animals the very first year. And here it's like I'm thinking, I don't want to do electric fence. I've decided that for the kind of beauty that I want, for the kind of plethora of life that I want, that electric fence is not part of that anymore. I want something else.
Yeah.
And so we're building junk pole fence, and so we need the paddocks. We need to get all these paddocks built, because if you don't have paddocks, you're just feeding the deer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then once we've got the paddocks built, we can start growing stuff. Then we start growing all the chicken feed and the hog feed and all that stuff. And then as Ben Falk pointed out in his systems, that it wasn't until like the 7th year that he got any kind of animals And once he got animals, then everything started to really flourish. And so, because
For your paddocks, are you going to be using like hedgerows, or are you going to try and build hedgerows into where you're building those fence lines?
We have plans to build living fence.
Awesome.
I thought they were going to be planted this last fall, and Kai has been in charge of that, and now he's talking about they're going to be planted this spring. And to slow things down even more, we're planting these living fences from seed.
Oh my.
And that's because anytime you transplant, you lose the taproot, and the taproot is so critically important.
Oh, especially for fence line.
Yes. So, anyway, all I wanted to say is that at this point in time, he's like saying, go someplace and build experiences from someplace where they're really rocking it. And we're rocking a lot of stuff here. I mean, if you go on the tour takes 3 hours if you don't ask any questions.
Yeah.
And we've probably got, I mean, I know that Ben Falk has a rocket mass heater, but I think we have 12. And so there's other things that we're really heavy on. And there's stuff that we have that is more than what Ben Falk has, but what it boils right down to is who's growing a fuck ton of food. And Ben's growing more than we are, and he's on a smaller plot.
Well, go to both. I mean, it's so much cheaper than going to stupid Hawaii. You get to see some really cool stuff.
Well, now, how many acres does Ben have? Do you know?
No, not off the top of my head.
I think it's like 12 acres, which
I thought it was more than that, but
not
much.
Maybe it is.
It's not nearly what you got.
Yeah, so I've got like 300, and so there it is, Ben Falk. But it's like that. You're gonna be searching for the word acres.
Come on, Ducky. Come here.
Now
Come here, Ducky. Come on.
Oh, ducks are
Come
coming.
on, Ducky.
Oh man, what did you activate?
He had a video that autoplayed there.
Okay.
Anyway, if you Whole System Designs is the website if you guys want to go and try and figure it out.
Well, and of course, you know, I'm not exactly sure what his thing is going to be about woofers and interns and stuff like that. But I do know what we have, and I do think that, you know, for people, like, now is a good time to come, and that I think that it's possible that in a couple of years we won't have a boot camp program anymore. And
a lot of places, once they get established like this, they phase out. They no longer need the people.
Yeah.
And so get in while you can.
Yeah. And so, I mean, right now I love the idea of populating. I mean, I think a big part of permaculture is replacing oil with people. And then, so we're currently still working on getting in enough people here, but you know, the people that tend to want to come are going to be closer to the spiky weed than the delicate flower. And so we're trying to make it very enticing and easy for the folks that are comfortable with coming at this point in time. And then later it's going to be harder to be here. All right. Oh, 10 acres. Michael says 10 acres.
Yeah, they have a 10-acre, 13-year-old site, and he has a 4-year-old, 175-acre site.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
I like this system where what we do is we ask questions, and then the chat people like go look it up.
yeah.
All right, let's get back to our vid.
All right.
With them, I mean, that's become a large part of what our internship is about. It's been a reality check for people just about to springboard off onto their own enterprises. And it's, you know, we're taking all the risk, and ultimately it's our responsibilities, but we give as much responsibility as we see a person is able to take on. And that really allows this kind of reality check to, like, see, is this what I want to do? You know, am I up for this? Have I got the skills and energy and strength to do that? And that's been really effective. But I think, you know, there's so many amazing places that would happily take a dedicated, serious person on for a season, and you learn so much like that. And I say that because, you know, these processes we're working with, they're all based on complex things like economy, ecology, and society. And you can't learn about that stuff from courses, from books, from videos. It's ultimately, your learning only really begins when it's your money on the line, your customer base, your production model. And, you know, I think there's another point in there about fear. The fear of failing.
Okay, I wanted to bring something up real quick. I love that he said you're going to find out if you can do the work, because a lot of people coming into it don't have the muscle memory, which is a huge thing. And it's very difficult at first. It's easier as you get that muscle memory, as you do the hard work, as you get more in shape. Because at first you're going to think, I can't do this. But if you stick it out for a little while, you'll find, on the physical side at least, it does get easier. It doesn't get easier, and you see people around you, it's getting easier for them, and it's just not happening for you. Maybe you're not cut out for it. So it's a great opportunity to go do like the ANT program over walls and really learn whether you can do it.
I think that's true. I mean, we've had a lot. I thought one of the interesting things that he said is that there's a lot of farmers that want people that are, you know, dedicated and hardworking or something like that. And it's like, you learn a lot about yourself when you come out. And we've had, I'm thinking back, there was this one guy who got here, I think he was 18 when he arrived. And I think, and he was here for 2 months. And he was here for part of a workshop, and he did a work trade for the workshop. So he was here a month before the workshop, and then during the workshop. And it was a lot of hard work. You know, it was a workshop with work. And I think he said that, and I heard feedback later. I think it was from his mom. And she said, I sent you a boy and you sent me back a man. And so then, but he stuck it out is the big thing. Well, he came from Europe, and so it's not like he could just say, I'm out of here. He could have, I guess, you know, but he stuck it out, and he had what it took to get through. And so he started off stumbling, but he stuck to it and got through it. Now, most of the people we see, they come for a few hours or a few days, and they say they're here for months or longer, but after a few hours or a few days, they leave. They just...
We had at Elijah Spring Farm, our tenants and people that were in training the woofers called it, or told us we should market this as a weight loss program.
Yeah. There's some truth in that too. And I don't know, I think that there's a lot of people where they're 18 years old and they have no idea what they're going to do with their lives. And they haven't found their passion yet. And I kind of think this is a great place to come. I mean, this or someplace else. It's a great way to go and find out what is your thing. What's going to be the thing that cooks your chicken? What's going to be your passion? Because you try a little of this, you try a little of that. There's a little natural building, there's a little gardening, there's a little, you know, fence building, there's a little bit of, you know, working with animals, and then you find out like what's your thing, and a little self-discovery in that way, which is probably more important and more valuable than a little self-discovery of like you're kind of a pussy.